Colorado, 4 stands alone. 11 o'clock, Weekend Report.
Good evening. Thanks for watching. Here is the news. A Denver Police Sergeant William Ingerman arrested in Jefferson County in a shopping center parking lot there today and charged with trying to hire another officer to kill the sergeant's wife. District Attorney Nolan Brown says Ingerman allegedly offered the officer a large sum of money for the murder. The officer he contacted has not been identified. Sergeant Ingerman has been booked on solicitation to commit first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and he is jailed tonight in Jefferson County. His new quarters are cramped. He is under 24-hour guard, and he faces intense questioning. He is Theodore Bundy, and he's jailed in Florida. KOA's Pete Webb and cinematographer Mark Olinger have traveled to Pensacola and to Tallahassee for the Ted Bundy story, the story of his capture and the strange odyssey that led up to it.
Ted Bundy left his Pensacola jail cell twice yesterday. This was filmed after he'd been fingerprinted and photographed for Tallahassee detectives. His attorneys decided against asking for his release on bond.
I'd like to announce that the attorneys representing Mr. Bundy have decided that they do not want another bond hearing, so he will be held without bond. We have received a hold order from Colorado and Salt Lake City, Utah.
Bundy is being guarded in a second-floor cell, and last night was taken out for another session with Tallahassee Detective Sergeant Ben Rosar. "We've heard his life story," said Rosar. "He's telling us everything, but what we want to know. I'm holding my breath." What they want to know about is the January 15th strangling of 2 co-eds and the beatings of 3 others here at the Chi Omega sorority house on the Florida State University campus. Bundy is the prime suspect because of the nature of the murders, brutal sexual assaults. Many of the 21 credit cards Bundy had with him were stolen in Sherrod's, a bar next to the Chi Omega sorority on Jefferson Avenue. Ted Bundy had lived here at the Oaks rooming house just shortly after he came to Tallahassee, apparently the first week in January. He used the name Chris Hagan and said he was a graduate student from Ann Arbor, Michigan. When Bundy left here last week, he was 6 weeks behind in his rent. He'd left the day after a Tallahassee paper published a psychological profile of the Chi Omega killer, a profile that matches Bundy in some ways. The car he was driving was stolen from a block near the rooming house. Frances MESSIER lived across the hall from Bundy and knew him as Chris. She said she was one of his few friends. What kind of person was he?
A quiet type person. Aloof, friendly.
You talk to him?
Yes, sometimes.
Did you ever feel any fears being around him?
No, not fear.
When you talked to him, what would you talk about?
Everyday stuff. How he's doing today and things like that. It's kind of hard to generalize a character in a living situation like that.
You went out to dinner with him one time?
And we went out to dinner once. That's kind of...
Knowing what you know now, does that frighten you? Do you put that much trust in a person?
Well, under the circumstances that we went out to dinner, it was pretty casual. And we trusted each other enough to go out to dinner, just as friends do go.
Bundy's $90 a month room has been searched and fingerprinted. Officers found a stolen TV, whatever else, they are not saying. Ted Bundy followed one of his strongest habits, keeping in shape. He jogged through the Greek Hill neighborhood. He told Frances he was an accounting student, but the other rooming house residents who knew him never saw him on campus. Ted Bundy lived just 2 blocks from this campus. Ever since the sorority house attacks, there's been a general air of uneasiness at Florida State University. But as one law enforcement officer said, now that we have a firm suspect, maybe things will get back to normal. Pete Webb, News Watch.